What's going on, everybody? It's your guy DJ OG1. Welcome to the Portland Black Music Expo. And I'm glad that everyone is here. Glad that everyone is here because this is an amazing and great and special occasion. And I'm happy to be kicking off tonight with some special guests as a part of our Portland Black Music Expo. We wanted to incorporate a variety of panels to both bring awareness to the rich culture of music that we've had in Portland for a while. And I think it's important for us, particularly up and coming musicians and artists and creatives to understand the history of music, specifically Black music in Portland, and kind of see where this stuff all started. And so I got some special guests. And before I get to my guests, again, tonight's panel starts tonight, but then we have two more panels tomorrow, one at 1 o'clock and one at 3 o'clock, that we welcome everyone to tune in. And shout out to everyone that is tuned in all over the globe right now. And if you're wondering, we're partnered with X-Ray right now. X-Ray, we're on air on X-Ray FM 107.1 and 91.1 on your FM dial, streaming live worldwide on xray.fm, as well as all the social media platforms connected to this event. So we're going to get right to it, y'all. We're going to get right to it. And if you don't know who I am, I'm DJ OG1, co-founder of the Portland Black Music Expo, along with my partner, Tony Ozier. And we have a host of supportive cast that has helped us pull this event off. And we appreciate everybody that's just kind of, put their hands and wrap their arms around this event, because we plan on doing this every year. So without further delay, we're going to get to this panel, and I have a special guest. We're going to welcome in our panel guest, Mr. Calvin Walker, along with a host of other guests on this panel that I'll let them introduce themselves, but I'll let them come in. So I don't know if Calvin, if you're unmuted, so we're gonna give the floor over to you.
You know what, D? We have some legends here, okay? These just aren't regular people. These are legends, so legendary that they have other names. So we have the mayor, we have the boogie cat, and I guess it's just still Bill, because we didn't give Bill a nickname.
It's still Bill.
So we're gonna rob the old Withers stuff. So very happy, and of course the young tyke amongst us, Mr. Bobby Smith. But we're gonna jump right into it. We are going through some stuff right now. But I can remember when I was about 15 or 16 years old. Actually, the first time I played this legendary venue, I was 13 years old. And a friend of mine, Jimmy Sanders, is an organ player, B3. And I had just moved into his neighborhood. Man, you got to come down to this club. He had a brother, Johnny Sanders. They also played. He said, you got to come down to the Cotton Club, man, and play. And I go, really? He goes, yeah, man, it's every Sunday. So I walk into the Cotton Club, and I'm 13 years old, so my eyes are like, the cool part is that the person who ran and owned the Cotton Club would allow us to come in and not only play, but absorb the culture, right? So it wasn't just the music, it was everything. It was everything, every part of the nightlife, day life, you name it. The staff was great, but you saw some of everybody in that club. So I'm gonna let the mayor talk about that for a little bit. Paul, what year did the Cotton Club start?
Well, Calvin, first of all, say hello to everyone. There's Norman Sylvester, Bill Gibbs.
Yeah.
We got Bobby Smith and of course OG1. You guys are going in high cotton. You know, you get OG1, you're in high cotton. I'm telling you. Yes, yes. I came to Portland in 1963, Calvin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And what year did you start the club? What year did the club start?
1963. That's when I
63?
started. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I arrived in town in July 63. By August, we were up and rolling.
Yeah, that was the place, man. I mean, people don't realize now, but back then it was the social milieu that was happening. There was no internet and there was no cell phones. People went out 6 nights a week, and Sundays you went to a jam session. And there were several around town, but it never stopped. It was always 7 nights a week, entertainment, people out, socializing with each other, meeting with each other. Very few problems. People just came out to have a good time. But you got to see it all. The high steppers and the low steppers all in one place, right? and then it was named so appropriately, right? The only club on the West Coast with wall-to-wall soul.
So
So I'm going to tell a quick story, and then I'm going to get the other people involved. So my first time actually playing a show outside the jam sessions, we had this gig, you know, the gangsters down at Portland State University. And Bill Pittman and Johnny, Willie Black, and I can't remember who else, they were backing up this group called the Hollywood Attraction, right? I think these brothers are from LA. All 5 of them in a Fleetwood. I don't know how they got all this stuff, their clothes, their toiletries, all of them riding in a Fleetwood. So, and Bill goes, man, you sure you can do the gig? I can do the gig. So we're playing, right? And one of the dudes, he look at me, man, you better hit every kick. Because these cats are like, you know, it's a singing group. It's like the Temptations, right? They're going, bam, bam. You better hit everything. You're a drummer, boom, boom. I'm like 14 years old, right? And so after the first set, the bass singer comes up to me and goes, man, you better hit them kicks. And I was so terrified, I don't think I missed a thing. And after the gig was over, he goes, man, you did a great job for a little dude like yourself. You did a great job. And Bill, I know you had.
Let me tell you my first experience. We were teenagers too. We were in a little band called the Harlequins at that time. We became later the Seven Souls down in LA. And it has its own legendary blueprint down there. But when we first went into the Cotton Club, it was in the afternoon. It was an audition. And Paul and Geneva were both there. And Mary Lee Whitney, I think she was like 13 or 14 years old, you know. And Henry Moore, who was our sax player, had sang with Mary in church at Vancouver Avenue First Baptist Church, and brought her to one of our practices and said, we gotta do something with her. So we brought her to the Cotton Club, and the first song we played was "Stand By Me" by Benny King. And this is in the middle of the afternoon, and some cat was there at the bar, and he stood up and he walked up to the stage and he stood by Mary Lee while we played "Stand By Me." And Paul cracked up and Geneva cracked up. And then all of a sudden they were on the phone and they were calling their regulars and they said, you got to see this band. This new band just walked in the door at the Cotton Club and these cats are bad. Now we were all teenagers. You know, we were like the Jackson 5 even, and Jackson 5 hadn't even been around yet. You know, they hadn't been invented yet. And we're playing all this Motown and all this stuff, you know, early 60s. And, you know, and we were digging it. And what was cool about us, we were racially integrated, you know, because it's Portland. And it was just cats who liked the music. So we all got together. It all started at my mom's house. We all had a jam session. We realized that we had something. And we just kept cooking from there. But I think one of our major influences and stars, and I'll never forget this, the Hammond B3.
That's right.
Leslie Speaker.
Yeah.
Wall-to-wall soul. I mean, you could not do wrong in that club. It was awesome. And I mean, one of my favorite memories from my teens is Paul Knowles on the phone calling up the regulars saying, get down here, you got to see this band now.
Well, and you know what was so funny is the sound in that room.
Oh yeah,
was incredible.
yeah.
I don't know what was in the walls or whatever, but the sound was always incredible. First notch, top notch, all the time.
Yep.
So we also have the man here. You know, you couldn't wear those colors a few years ago, my brother.
These colors, the red.
I'm looking at Norman.
Norman.
Yeah, you know, you couldn't wear that stuff. You're looking good though.
Yeah.
We have the legendary
Oh, look at him.
Norman Sylvester. Now Norman, not only is a great musician, but he does a lot of stuff for the community. It's not just about the music for him. The music is just an extension of what he does on a regular basis every single day, day in and day out, whether it's healthcare. He helped organize Good in the Hood. So many things that you've done. Did you play the Cotton Club?
I did not play the Cotton Club, but I went on the energy of the Cotton Club through my buddy Frankie Redding, little Frankie Redding, who sit in for Billy Larkin. So the stories of the Cotton Club, or even when I would go to Lou's Man Shop, where Paul everybody shopping over there for these kind of colors, these red suits and pink suits and all them kind of things, you know. But I came in the club after Paul let it go. Jesse and Peggy Hudson bought it and turned it into the Ebony Club. And I was a house band in there for a while, playing behind Frankie Lee and whoever came through town. And then Jewellas came in. It was Jewellas after that. So that location that Paul started, it was just a part of the Northeast Portland hub of where to go for music for quite a while. And then Brad opened up the upstairs, downstairs, and Billy Larkin moved over there with a jam session. And we went to that jam session to watch Billy Larkin smoke a cigarette with the ashes this long at the end of the cigarette, head hung down. Hey, Billy, can we play, man? Yeah, babe.
Yeah.
In a minute. Billy Larkin and Benny Wilson are the only cats could smoke a cigarette and the ashes didn't fall off of it, man, until he was done with it.
And he could play, man. He could play.
Oh, man.
I know the great Lester McFarlane would be smoking one and he'd put it up on the guitar, right? And it would never burn his guitar. I was always amazed. I go, how can this cat do this? It's like amazing. Well, and you know, there was a circuit. We had a little circuit, right? So it was the Cotton Club, Fred's Place, Upstairs Lounge. That's where you went. You went those nights. And if you're a little bit older, you know, we had the Texas Playhouse.
Oh, yeah.
There were other places, and then the Elks, you know, they would always have their
Elks,
private.
yeah.
Everybody. But that was, it really was. Really, that neighborhood was on fire.
Yeah.
But Calvin, history about that Texas Playhouse, that was the old Porters Club. All the Afro-American Union Pacific Porters, they hung out there. And when Miss T bought it, we had to move a B3 organ straight up a stairway to the top of the stairs, man. And she'd come, we played 2 songs, and she'd get up and say, "Stop this show. Stop this show. This is the main lady in the house. Everything that happened on in here got to come by me. If I say you got to go, you got to go." So, and I had young kids in the band, and she said, "Sylvester, them teenagers can't have no drinks in front of them, or they're gonna be out of here." You know, so that was the Texas too, man. I mean, the Texas Playhouse. That was a wonderful place, man. Yes, it's part of history, you know, because the Dr. Unthanks and Dr. Marshall's office was right across that street over there, man. You know, or the Citizens Cafe and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And Cleo's, of course. Can't leave out Cleo. Yeah. You know, I wanted to talk about this because, especially the things that are happening now, is that community was self-sufficient, right?
Yeah, it was.
It's like, we have to remember that when a dollar changed hands, that same dollar that may have paid for a drink at the Cotton Club may end up back at Mr. Brain's barbershop.
Exactly.
Or maybe it ended up at Bill's neighborhood, right? Or maybe it ended up at the Elks Club. But, you know, our self-sufficiency in that neighborhood was phenomenal.
It was
really incredible, right?
And really incredible was being able to pick up musicians, everybody played, like Ron Steen right across the street from
Ron
the
Steen, right across the street, right.
You know, and the young people, man, you could say, hey, you get the gig sometime, and then you could get the band.
Yeah.
So I got a gig, man. Hey, what you doing on there tonight? Oh, come on, man. You know?
Get the gig, then get the band.
And I think a big part of it was all these places were run very professionally.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when you play, I played a gig. I never played one of those gigs where I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Not once, not ever.
Yep.
I always got my money. I was only 15, 16 years old, but we always got paid. And I remember Paul dropping me off at my house one night, because we all lived in that same neighborhood, in that one lot neighborhood. And I'll never forget, one morning I was on my way to high school, getting on the bus stop. And I see this guy. It's the first time I'd ever seen a black man jog, right? I was out there running. I was going, a black dude jogging. It was incredible. You just, you know, he actually introduced us to things, a level of sophistication that you wouldn't have found anywhere else, because that's what he brought with him. Right?
Yeah.
Always impeccably dressed.
Always
the gentleman and the perfect host.
And everybody was jealous because of Geneva. She was so gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
We were just kids.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, Paul set the bar real high, because, you know, most of them had to live up to those standards, man. You know,
that's right.
Clean dressing to this day, you know, that's, you know, my Louisiana upbringing. I saw a man of Paul's statue, my uncles and my dad, when they went out on the weekend after working hard all week, they dress up in their Stacey Adams, man, and they strut, man. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, where I got my dressing from, you know, watching Paul and Geneva, you know, how they treat people. It's all about, it's entertainment, man. It's not that I'm the hottest thing or you the hottest thing. And Paul made it entertainment. And Paul made it entertainment. If the place Paul made it go to a table, you had two chairs and say, can these people join you? And he would pack that place out with folks just talking, having a good time, man. I remember Geneva's, man, to this day, man. Forever. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Calvin, let me tell you about the dress thing, you know, where the dress thing came from. And I learned it early because, okay, we were waiters, we were porters, we were red caps. The women of our era, they worked in white people's homes. So they had a some type of a maid dress on. So what do you do on Sunday? You dress up to let everybody know that even though I'm a red cap, I'm a person that I have a job that no one else would have. But on Sunday, I get dressed and let people know that I'm somebody, and that's exactly where that came from.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we don't. People look. It's an anomaly now. People look at it like, "Why are you dressed up?"
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like we used to dress up. You know,
they think you go into a funeral because
you would never go down to those clubs in a pair of jeans.
Oh no.
I can distinctly remember there was Moody. I don't know if you guys knew Moody. I'm sure Paul remembers him. Moody was a gentleman of leisure. Okay, that's the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. Moody was so powerful in the stuff that if he came in wearing blue, I kid you not, the other brothers would go home and put on their blue. Mm-hmm. That's how Moody ran the stuff, right? And I'll never forget the classics. Charming Chico, Sexy Steve, and Luscious Larry, the classic. Yeah, and I ended up playing with Chico and Everything Is Everything later on. But just that whole scenario, man, the Cadillacs, the Lincolns, the whole lifestyle, the whole thing was just really, really incredible. And it's so shameful that we don't really have that type of ownership or presentation today. We really don't.
Yeah, we don't have the family thing like we had back with the Monarchs and the Majestics and Lanny Hunt and the Anton brothers. Yeah. You know, Harvey McDaniels, our big bass player. Herb Hadley. You know, like you was talking about Willie Blacknall and Lester McFarland and the Sanders brothers at the Albina Art Center cooking it. Back in those days, they would be in the back of the Albina Art Center. The front was a karate class.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Crazy Joe had a karate class. So we were doing karate to some cool jazz, man. Yeah. And in the back room, man.
Well, you know, they had Dr. Rufus Butler, right?
Yeah.
And this brother, I don't know where he came from, but he preceded all of the things about grant writing and how to make people feel guilty to get the money he needed to, you know. I mean, think about that. That's an art center in the late 60s, man, the mid to late 60s. We don't have anything like that now.
Yeah.
That just was purely a presentation of Black culture. You could learn how to dance. You could learn how to play an instrument. They had a library where you could read. It was open to anybody, open every day, like clockwork, every single day. And it's almost disheartening to see how we have split that, right? Because we come together for certain things, but it was that community. I had a little girlfriend. She lived on Ganton Vine and Skidmore. I stayed at her house till 11 o'clock at night. I never worried about walking home. And we lived on 12th and Highland, right? I never worried about walking home at night. Anybody was going to mess with me or anything else. So there was a spirituality, and you're right, Norman, a family type of, because everybody knew everybody, right? Yeah. We all, you know, the Jessies knew the Beasleys knew the.
We had unity too, because we had the social club, Black social clubs, all those Black social clubs. That Paul remember those. He used to dress up here in Geneva and go to all those things. And Afro American bands played all those social events. The Oklahoma Club, the Arkansas Club. You know, there's a photo, right?
Louisiana Club.
The Texas Club. We're talking about Freddie Williamson. We got to remember Mr. Lee Graham over at the Elks, you know, because he drove the bean bus. He drove the bean picking bus. He picked us up, you know, and then we worked for him on the weekend and get $50 to carry a B3 up and down those stairs to that Elks, man. That was a lot of work.
Billy Larkin.
I figured as the archivist who follows you guys around a little bit, I might as well just show what we got. Please keep this wonderful conversation going. I'm just a bystander with a few photos in the mix.
So Paul, I also wanted to talk about, because I know this is music and we should talk about that, but I wanted to talk about African American ownership of places and properties, right? And I remember years ago, I don't know if you guys remember Lanita Duke, and she would sign off on her radio show.
Grassroots news.
Prolific, right? What she said, don't sell your grandma's house, right? Now, can you imagine if all the people who had owned, because really, that's how you gather wealth.
That's how you gather wealth.
That first home, that equity in that home is what allows you to do that, right?
Right.
And so, but we've been dispersed into every nook and corner of this area. So what was our community is no longer that, right?
Well, they built the Coliseum.
Yeah, that was the first.
Manual Hospital took over all that property, and they never built for 20 years. You know, I did stories at Channel 8 about people being displaced from their homes, you know, for no good reason, and they had nowhere to go. They had no plan. They'd been there. Their families had been there, you know, and the houses were in good shape. These are not houses to be condemned. These are houses that were in good shape, that people had pride in, that were ownership houses, and the city came in and just wiped it out.
It was the old German community. initially. So it was, those homes were like beautiful, big homes.
Beautiful homes, right?
Gorgeous homes.
Yeah.
Big porches.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And we just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and now it's just all but, you know, dissipated for the few who, and you walk through that community now, people look at you like,
like what are you doing here?
Why are you here?
I know.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But,
Calvin, what I pulled out here is the Cotton Club Revisited book. That was in 1987. We bought back all. Can everybody see it okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought back all the musicians that had played at the Cotton Club, and we had a big reunion down at the on the park blocks at the museum. But this is the other thing I'm going to show you, the Seven Souls.
Woo!
Right.
Yeah, I was the original bass player, and then there's a guy named Lyndon Johnson who escalated the war in Vietnam the summer that we moved to LA, and 3 of us in the band got drafted that summer. I ended up in the Marine Corps Reserve and had to leave the band. So I had to leave my dream band in 1966. But the people, you know, that band went, you know, they went all over Europe. They opened for the Righteous Brothers. One of their songs is a Northern Soul classic in Great Britain, one I co-wrote with Henry Moore called "I Still Love You." So, you know, we had a little flair. And then Bob Welch was our second guitar player, and he went to Fleetwood Mac. And after that, he had his own solo career at Capitol Records. So, and all this stuff bubbled up here. You know, we were playing here. We were playing in Salem. You know, we were playing in Eugene. We played at the Armory in Salem. You know, we were doing what you do. And, you know, Paul Revere and the Raiders were out there. The Kingsmen were out there. And here we were out there, too. So it was good times in the 60s.
Yes, sir.
Bill, you got to tell him your Bob Dylan story.
Oh, well, I had one of the benefits of having been in the music business, especially in LA, was I had all these contacts. So I'm working at CBS News in LA, and I get a record feature going where I'm doing profiles, kind of like Entertainment Tonight and all that stuff before they did it. So I'm profiling people like Ray Charles in the studio, mixing his stuff, and I'm doing Neil Diamond with his new music, and you know, I'm doing Helen Reddy. And I wanted to track down this legendary record producer who nobody had seen or talked to for years, Phil Spector, because he'd done all these things with the Shirelles and all these great girl groups that, you know, he wrote a lot of the songs in the 60s, and he dominated the pop charts. He was a millionaire by the time he was 21. So I go do the story on Phil, and he and I hit it off. Turns out that he also had the connection to the Righteous Brothers, Lost That Love and Feeling. You know, he co-wrote that song, and he also produced them on his label, you know, initially. And so he and I hit it off. So one time he invites me to a session because he liked to record overnight, late at night, from like 11 o'clock on. So I ended up at the session. I don't know who's going to be there. He says, just come on by. So I go in there, and all of a sudden I see a guy standing at the microphone, and it's Leonard Cohen, you know, and he's getting ready to cut tracks for an album called Death of a Ladies Man. And Phil says, I need more background singers. Get out there, Diaz, get out there and help out the background. So he says, I want to introduce you to the other background singers. It was Bob Dylan and Allen Ginsberg, the poet. They were friends. All these people, all these cats knew each other. And so I'm standing on a microphone. Bob Dylan's on one side, singing in my ear, sounded just like Bob Dylan. And Allen Ginsberg's on the other side, who nobody knew what he sounded like, but he's doing his thing. And Leonard Cohen's doing his thing. And then when the album comes out, we all get liner note credits. So
Nice.
if you look at the liner notes, it's like background singers, Leonard Cohen, Allen Ginsberg, Bob Dylan, Bill Diaz. We're all on there. So that's the only time I ever met Bob Dylan.
So Norman,
yes.
Now you're probably one of the most prolific as far as working. You're the cat man. You work so much. This had to have been crazy. this whole period of time now, not being able to play, not being able to work, that's just got to be nuts, man. All those clubs, we don't know if they'll come back or not. So how have you been keeping yourself busy? Because you were always working.
Yeah, I've been doing some motivational stuff on Facebook. I wrote a couple of songs and put some videos on Facebook. I've been doing virtual stuff with Consumer Cellular, and I just did a piece for Blackfish Gallery. So, home improvement, I redid my floors, painted my walls and stuff like that, man, And, I'm just trying to stay mentally and physically fit. But if I wanted to just jump back to my journey, I couldn't talk about my journey unless I talked about Janet Scroggins. So we just got to mention that her. And in 1969, my band Rated X, who the two horn players was from the band Slickophonics back in the day. That before Pleasure, the band right there. So I was trucking. I worked trucking for 23 years. I opened for B.B. King in 1987, and I was back down at the trucking company that next day in coveralls, and partied with B.B. and the band that whole night at the Arlene Schnitzer Hall. We were the first local band in Portland to play the Schnitz. And, my journey just kept getting better and better, but I had family, I had a day job, and I had music. But when
lost some audio.
When broke, and I became free. That I became free. Everybody found out that I was free, and music just started. The phone been ringing, and I've been blessed with the ring to this day, man. Just and my music and writing my original stuff, and fan music, and just healing.
Yes, sir.
Calvin,
Paul,
wait, yes, Calvin.
Geneva's. That
Okay.
was probably it's a legendary place. There wasn't a basketball player or a person who wanted to get their hair done right who didn't go to Geneva's. So I imagine it was just a bit too difficult to deal with it during this period of time.
Oh, you mean the barbershop?
Yes, sir.
Beauty and barbershop. Yes. What happened is the state of Oregon, they made it easy for me, and we have a little bit of something. And I was so frightened that I was going to get sued because someone had not followed the protocol of mask or wiping down the bathroom when somebody leave, making people stay outside until they couldn't walk in the place until they were ready to, Yeah. And then that with being 90 years old in January, it made it real easy, for me to walk away. We'd been there over 30 years.
Yeah.
And we didn't sell the building. The building is leased, and a new business will be going in there. So we've been blessed. We've been really blessed. I'm happy that we were able to be there all those years, and we made it happen, though. A lot of people.
Got my haircut. That's where I got my haircut.
Right, Calvin.
I don't have any hair now.
Yes. Calvin, I like what I make a joke out of it because people say, "Oh, I am so sorry that you had to close your business." I said, "Well, don't feel sorry for me because I've been to the mountaintop." And they say, "Oh, yes." I said, "Yes." And you know who I met? Now, if I was talking to Bill Diaz, I said, I met Bill Diaz on the mountaintop. I met Calvin Walker. I met Norman Sylvester. I met all these people. So no sad songs for me. I feel great about what we did in the community. Yeah. And of course, with Geneva, just the light of my life,
Yeah.
And so we had it going. Let me give you a Geneva story right now. I'm going to show you this picture here. Let's see, where are we here? That is.
Okay, the celebrities.
I think you went on mute, Paul.
Check your mic, Paul.
I thought I saw a shot of Sammy Davis Jr. in the mix.
Yeah, it looks like some celebrities. Yeah, that is Sammy, I think.
Yep, Sammy Davis.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to tell you the story about Sammy Davis. You know, I never went to any concerts because I'm getting ready for people to come from the concert to the Cotton Club.
Right.
Exactly.
And then, but my wife went, and two of her girlfriends, they went to the after party. And Sammy Davis Jr., he looked over and saw Geneva, and whoa. So one of his men came over and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but Sammy would like to talk to you." And she said, "Well, tell him to come on over." And he says, "Ma'am, Sammy don't come over. You know, you need to come over to Sammy." She said, "Well, tell him hi, you know." And then, but Sammy got the look, and he came over. "Hello, Mama, how you doing?" There's two other ladies. "These are my girlfriends here. And why didn't you come over to the Cotton Club tonight? My husband and I, we own a club." And he says, "Is it safe?" She said, "Really safe." He said, "Well, I might come over then." I said, "Oh, okay." And so Geneva walked in the club, and she says, honey, Sammy said he might come over. Sammy said he might come over. I said, "Sammy who?" She said, "Sammy Davis Jr." I said, "Honey, Sammy Davis Jr. ain't coming over here." So she says, "Okay." So she went on back watching the show. About an hour later, Sammy Davis Jr. got out of the cab. He walked in the door. I said, "Mr. Davis, welcome to the Cotton Club." He says, "Thank you. You got any food?" I said, "Yes, sir. We can take you out here and I introduce you to my chef." So I told the chef, "Well, don't charge him. You know, just go ahead and give it to him." So he came back, and I ran back to see Geneva. Honey, guess who's here?" She said, "Who?" I said, "Sammy." She says, "Sammy who?" So he came in, and I took him in back. He asked Geneva to get a bunch of ladies around him. He says, "Make sure that no white girls come near me, because if they get a picture put in the paper, they won't buy my records. They won't watch my show. I can't play in Vegas." And Geneva was happy. She got about 6 girls that got around Sammy. She wouldn't let nobody next to Sammy. After we closed at 2:30, he stayed there until about 4 a.m. taking pictures with everyone that wanted to take a picture, you know. And so we had a good night that night with Sammy Davis Jr. That was really quite something to see him come to the Cotton Club.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Truthfully, the big ones, their egos are, what do they have to prove, right? They're the most gracious people ever.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Paul, could you tell us about what happened when the Blazers won the championship?
Oh, okay. You know, back in the days, I had a bus. We called it the Soul Train. It was painted green, and we'd take it down to the college.
I remember that.
It carried 28 people. I would take them down to the game. We could park right in front of the Coliseum then. You know, they had buses lined up. So we went to the game, and after we won, we headed back. And but I have to go back to the night before. I had already gone down on 7th and Siskiyou and got some barricades and we're working on the sidewalks. Well, I took them and put them in my truck, and I said, if they win, I'm gonna have to barricade the street, you know. So I got them. Then I got to thinking, what if I get arrested stealing some barricades, you know? But anyway, I did it. And after the game, we arrived. Then the people started coming. The streets got busy. I went down and put the barricades down so that couldn't anybody, you know, drive through. Then here comes Neil Goldsmith. "Paul, why are these barricades in the street?" I said, "Neil, you don't want anybody driving through here. The street's full of people. Somebody get hurt." So the first time I ever saw a phone in the car, he reached in his middle section, pulled out the phone, and called downtown and says, "Bring some barricades out here on Williams and Mason so we can barricade this street off." I'd never seen a phone in a car before, except for Moody. Moody had that old Cadillac, you know, that Cadillac that was all painted up the Cotton Club.
Right.
Moody took his phone out of his house and put it in the car, and Moody be driving down the street talking on this phone that wasn't plugged into nothing. You know? That was my buddy J. Nolan Moody. Anyway, here comes Lloyd Neal. Here comes Luke. All the people came. Mr. Glickman came with his wife, his daughter, and Jennifer. She's about 12 or 13 years old. Luke lost his wallet. Somebody gave it back to him with the money in it, you know, and we partied in the street. I had hired the young man that had a food cart. And I told him, I'll give you $25 to set up. If they don't win, then I'll give you the $25. If they win, you're on your own. So Carl Bowles, he had a food cart. He's probably the first person ever had a food cart. And the name of it was Mr. Sweetmeat. That was the name of it. That was the name of his food cart. He sold hot dogs. He sold hot dogs.
I remember seeing that.
Anyway, we partied all night. Before that, Channel 2 came over. They said, okay, we're going national. Everybody whoop it up, whoop it up. Of course, when you get everybody in the street partying and on TV, just like you see it when the Lakers won the other day, you know, everybody's in the street, man. We are partying right, partying right. Next street, the bad part was I had to clean up the street. I mean, it was paper cups and beer and everything. Then a lady from up on the corner, she had cooked a ham for dinner. And she saw all those people, so she brought her ham down with some bread and some mustard and ketchup. She sold sandwiches right off of that ham that she had cooked.
Yeah, that's community.
Did I see? Who did I see on my screen? Wait a minute, where'd he go? The legendary
Greg Smith. Greg Smith.
Greg, can you hear us? I'm not sure you can hear us yet.
Okay. He's there.
Yeah. He's playing around with something.
Okay.
Greg just won a very prestigious award. I think we'll let him talk about it when he's available.
Okay.
So Bill, you also had, so there was entertainment, but you also had a very pivotal career in media here. One of the first brothers to be on TV in Oregon.
Well, I was lucky. I was very fortunate. As you know, I had to leave the band to go do my service, and when I got out, I didn't want to stick around LA anymore, and so I came home and enrolled in Portland State, and I finished up in about a year and a half. And just as I was finishing my degree in political science, the word got out that the color line was finally going to be broken in television news in Portland. And, the interviews would be starting. And I had an advantage because since I got done early, everybody else got done in June. I got done winter term with all my credits. So I was actually free. And so I started making the rounds at Channel 6 and Channel 8. And I got offers from both places right away because they'd made up their mind that they were going to actually desegregate their newsroom. And so Channel 8, the Channel 6 offer was something I didn't like. They said, oh, we'll bring you in as an intern, paid intern for 6 months. And if you do well, we'll put you on the air. Channel 8 said, we own KGW radio. If you come work with us, you'll be on the air next week on radio news, and you'll learn the basics. And then when you're ready for TV news, we'll slide you right into TV. So I took the Channel 8 job. I actually started before I officially graduated because I had finished early, which was an advantage. And then I'm on the job for like 2 months, and the general manager calls me up and he says, there's a brand new program for African American and people of color learning the news business at Columbia University in New York. It's a special program. Fred Friendly, the former president of CBS News, runs it, and we think you got a shot at it if you apply. So I applied, and I was the only guy from the Northwest selected. They only selected 20 of us in the whole country. So I go back to Columbia and I study at their graduate school of journalism. And when that course is over, we all go back to our jobs because all of us were employed. And that's when they put me on TV news. So that in 1968, that fall, we watched Arthur Ashe win the U.S. Open. That was, here we are, all minority group at Columbia,
Right.
at the end of our program, and we're watching Arthur Ashe win the U.S. Open, and we're feeling like the sky's the limit, man. We can do anything. We can do anything. We conquered tennis, we could, and so, I came back inspired, and so I started at Channel 8, and Dick Bogle, at the same time, was hired at Channel 2. So he and I were the first African Americans on TV news in Portland as reporters.
Well,
My career progressed from there. I mean, I went to LA and I was an anchor man, and I was one of the few black anchor men in LA, and I covered the SLA shootout with Patty Hearst, won a bunch of awards and stuff. But you know what? I loved working in LA, but I did not like living in LA. And so when I finally came home in 1980, I got home just in time for the Mount St. Helens volcano. And I went to work for Channel 6, and I determined, having been in a big city for all those years, how to get on a story. So I got myself on that story and covered it for the whole duration, including May 18th, we were up there. And that's where I met my wife. That's where I met Judy. Judy and I were both in the newsroom at Channel 6, and we started dating, and I never looked back.
It's funny you should mention Dick Bogle, because I met Dick Bogle. He was a cop.
He was a cop. Yeah.
He used to come by the cop club, late at night. And then I'm watching TV and I go, that's the same guy who was the cop.
I know. Hey, his mom, did you know Kay? Kay Bogle was one of the most beautiful women in the whole city. That was his mom. I used to flirt with his mom. Kay was something, she was like a mentor. She was a writer. She wrote when we didn't have any opportunities, and she just found her way to write. I mean, these are the kind of people we grew up with. They were inspirational. They took what they had and they made something happen with it. They didn't take excuses. They didn't sit around moping. They were like, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. Paul, I'm looking at you right now. You don't know how many people you inspired with your business ethic and your qualities. And I mean, everybody looked up to you, man. I look at you now. You say you're 90 years old. You look like you're 60.
Exactly.
You don't look like you're 90 years old. I see young Paul Knowles.
You know what that's from? You know what that's from?
Jogging. Jogging before Bill. Before jogging was
before jogging, nobody was jogging.
Nobody was jogging.
I think he may get credit for it. He may have invented it.
Yeah, I think he did.
People used to ask me, why do you do those marathons? 26.2 miles. I said, well, I don't know any other black people that do them. So finally I met Ezel from Ezel's Chicken out of Seattle. He was black. He was doing 26-mile marathons.
Hey, Paul not only skied, Paul was a ski instructor.
And a ski.
I skied. I snow skied, but he taught people how to ski.
I played a gig in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And they hired us for the gig. They said, well, it's a special gig, right? And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. Nothing but black skiers. Everybody up there it was like the National Black Skiing, whatever.
NBS.
These brothers and sisters.
And they could ski. They could boogie.
And they're playing around and they were skiing like crazy. They were the cleanest skiers I've ever seen in my entire life. I go, how can you make a ski jacket look like that?
Calvin, I was a member of the NBS, and I've skied in Steamboat, and I've skied in every major ski area except Taos, New Mexico, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I've been all through Montana, all through Idaho, Colorado, Utah, California, Canada, Washington, and Oregon. That's where all the major ski areas. I've been to every one of them except in Mexico and in New Mexico and Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Incredible.
See, this is what I want our young people to understand.
Yeah.
You make your way through life.
You do.
You make your way through life. You don't let other people define you.
Yeah.
Paul never let anybody else define him and he inspired us, and people who, like Paul, inspired us to not let other people define us. And so we were able to go on and do things because we had
Well,
to believe in
you
ourselves.
think about it, there's only two answers, right? There's yes or no.
Yeah.
I might have 20 no's. I only need one yes.
Yeah.
So
But just don't give up on your dreams. Not to give up on your dreams.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just keep plugging along.
And
yes,
be
indeed.
disciplined about it. Be disciplined about it.
No doubt.
Who's this handsome young man down here with the beard? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing, Calvin?
I have one thing to say to you, Greg.
What's that, brother?
She's a teaser. She's a
Can
teaser.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? She's a teaser. That's right.
Don't you start. Don't you start.
Now, Greg, you got to. I just saw you on something. You just won some award, big time award.
I'm up for a Grammy.
All right.
All right, man.
Latest album.
That's cool, Greg. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm on the first round ballot for this 2021 Grammy, and so I should know something next couple of weeks whether or not I made the cut down to 5. You know.
All right.
Yeah.
So y'all, how's everybody doing?
Doing good, man.
Congratulations, Paul Knowles here. Yeah, man.
Hey,
Look at you.
Good to see you.
Let me tell you something about Greg. When we did the Albina review there at the Alberta Rose Theater, Greg started going down. I thought, oh no, he's not going to be able to get up. But he did. But he did. He went down. He came back up. I thought, oh my God.
Well,
Hey, Paul.
Congratulations, man.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
I learned from you. Working out pays off.
It does. It pays off. Yes.
You know,
yes.
when we did the Albina Soul review, Greg got down, and I thought to myself, should I? And no, I'm gonna back here and let him. I can't have. I better just leave that alone. I'm gonna let Greg do his thing tonight.
Yeah, I have good memories of Greg Smith at the old Royal Esquire working for Jeff Parks over there. You remember that, Greg?
Yes, I remember.
Man,
How well I remember.
some good old days, man.
Yes, how you been doing, my friend?
I've been doing great, man. I'm so proud of you, man. You're doing wonderful things. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, Sylvester. Appreciate you so much, man. It's good to see everyone, and I think this is a wonderful thing. I'm sorry that I'm just getting on. Out of all the days, my computer decided to trip on today.
Oh yeah.
So I'm on my phone now with the Zoom.
All right.
All right.
Now speaking of music, hey D, do you have any questions? We got just a little while left.
Right. I wanted to ask a question because I know a lot of young people are viewing this right now, and I'm just absorbing a lot of wisdom and knowledge of things that I didn't even know about the history of Black music in Portland and Black business, even in Portland. You have a lot of young entrepreneurs in the industry or trying to get established in the industry. Based on you guys' experience, what are some core or key advice you would give up and coming young artists and musicians on getting themselves established in this market?
You know, realistically, it's not what it used to be. There was a time in music, if you made it in music, if you had a top 10 hit, there was no digital radio, it was just AM, FM radio. If you had a top 10 hit, you got 2.5 cents every time it played in the world. Now think about that. That's how the Stevie Wonders and the Billy Joels and Barry Gordy with all the songs he took from everybody. If you can imagine though, 2.5 cents every time you had a hit. So if you were in the top 10, they played those songs every hour on the hour, sometimes twice, all over the world. So that's how they amass wealth. You don't make too much money on a 99-cent download.
No.
So you really have to be, it's the distribution of the music, and that's different now because everything's on the internet, right? And so I think there's still the ability to have the entrepreneurship, you just have to be creative about it. Look, and this is probably a horrible thing to say. If you have the entrepreneurial spirit to sling dope, turn that around and sling something that's not going to put you in jail. So if you think about it, the money that is amassed in that, and I hate to use that as an example, but it's still the entrepreneurial spirit, right? So do things that aren't going to have you looking over your shoulder, right?
I would say to young people to do the homework and promote themselves.
That's true.
But making music is fun, but the business of music is brutal.
Yeah.
So you got to learn about what, especially like he said, the internet, sound exchange, push your music out there. You're going to have to give away some free music across the country, but you mail it out to Sirius Satellite Radio, you just give them away, put your music out there, but copyright everything, get your publishing, get your copyright status, get your business license, and be a business, be independent, and stand on your own, and just keep creating and keep plugging along, and they'll get there, and stay on the ground.
And music is used in many ways today. You can get your movie in a movie. You can get it on a commercial. You can have that 15 or 20 seconds in a Netflix movie. But Norman hit on a good thing. It's about the business. People always go, man, Calvin, how do you have these? You got the baddest band. These cats are so bad. How do you get them to play with you all the time? They must think you're the stuff. I go, it doesn't have anything to do with that. The reason why they play with me, they know what they're going to be doing 6 months in advance.
Right? Hey, Calvin.
Well, you guys are right. It's all about investing in yourself.
That's it.
If you believe in yourself, then invest in it. And and take out the time to really learn the business side, like Sylvester just said. It shouldn't even be show business. It should be business show.
Yeah, that's right.
I set my first publishing company up there in Portland when I was 18 years old.
Yeah,
that's when I established my first publishing name. And so I learned, and I did a lot of research and studying, and I was fortunate enough to learn from a lot of greats that took me under their wings and taught me the business. The Johnny Taylors, Johnny Guitar Watsons, B.B. King, people like that I had the pleasure of knowing personally and working with that taught me the ropes about how to get paid.
Yeah.
How to get paid, aside from just getting up on the stage and singing.
Mm-hmm.
But, that mailbox money, that direct deposit money, and say, for instance, the new album that I have out, The Real Deal. Well, of course, I self-produced it along with my organist. He and I produced it together. And I probably put easy $25,000, $30,000 in that album of my own money. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't spare no expense because I knew what I wanted the outcome to be.
Yes.
When I first started recording the album, I said, I'm designing an album to get me a Grammy.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, a year later, here I am.
All
Hadn't
right.
had it yet, but I'm on the ballot. You see what I'm saying? So I put the money in, though. I invested in it,
Yeah. And forever you will be a Grammy-nominated artist.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the moniker for you, right?
Exactly.
Before we go too much further, I did want to give a shout out to Tony Ozeri and David Jackson, DJ OG1, and tell you that this is just the beginning of an entire weekend of fantastic musical performances. There are going to be also other panels at 1 and 3 p.m. tomorrow. You can tune in right here, right? And just to whet your appetite on some of the music that's going to be played, they're going to have the legendary Beyonds. They got a new record coming out. It's going to be out any day now. Tyrone Hendricks, Sadea Wright, DJ OG1 is going to be slamming. One of my favorite artists of all times, Versatile. who used to be with the Lifesavers and a great gospel group called Isaiah, Alonzo Chadwick. So make sure you come back to this spot right here. We also want to give a great shout out to the great Bobby Smith and all of the great work he does.
Yeah, Bobby.
Yes.
And then a chronological account, because no one else see it. And when it gets down to stuff like that, the color of your skin is inconsequential.
That's right.
Because somebody taking on the responsibility of actually archiving all this music.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about years and years and years, and everybody gets their props.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are. It's just the fact that he does it with little fanfare and no acclaim, really, and many times at his own expense. So I think we owe him. Can we give him a brother card, y'all? Can we give him one?
Well, why don't we do this?
We're gonna give you.
Calvin.
We're gonna give you
Calvin. Calvin.
Yes,
Calvin. Let's give him the claps.
All right.
Okay,
Hey,
Bobby. Greg, nice to see you. I'm so happy to see you.
Look, everybody out there, seriously. DJ OG1, Tony Ozeri, this is just the embryo of an idea that's going to go worldwide.
Good job. Good job.
I know we're all very proud to have been a part of it.
Yep.
Make sure you get that Greg Smith record. What's it called, Greg? Where can they get it?
It's called The Real Deal.
The Real Deal.
Real Deal.
Yeah, Greg A. Smith.
Greg A. Smith, The Real Deal, right?
Greg A. G-R-E-G-T. Greg A. Smith, The Real Deal.
You have a website?
Yes, I do. It's gregsmithmusic@gmail.com.
Okay, all right. Norman, what you gonna be doing?
Got next gig coming up is the Blackfish 30th of the month, 30-minute video presentation going in there. So everything else is being booked in 2021, but I got it out there, normansylvester.com.
Bill?
Yeah, you know that musical you and I were working on way back with Linda Hornbuckle?
Yes, sir.
She's another great that I missed.
Linda Horn, the great Linda Horn.
So we have a musical project about the life and times of Jesus Christ with contemporary music all the way from rap to soul. And you helped produce some of that music. And we have a couple of churches in 2021. I think we're going to actually stage it. So that's my big passion right now.
Beautiful.
Very, very nice. And Paul, besides being the godfather to us all, what's happening?
Well, what I'd like to do is the booklet that I have from the Cotton Club Revisited. All of those pictures in there are the musicians that played at the Cotton Club. And if anyone, Bobby got my number, so I can just text them to you guys. It's beautiful. We got the fabulous Hollywood attractions in there. We have Ewell Thomas in there.
Oh, you're Thomas.
We have the Three Little Souls in there. All these people performed at the Cotton Club.
Yeah.
And we got the strippers in there too, Sir Lady.
Sir Lady.
It was a man. It was a man.
I remember.
Nobody knew it was a man. And then on the back cover, you'll see Geneva and I.
All right.
Look at that. Look at that, man.
Yeah, that's sweet picture.
So, Bobby, you have my number, and you can give it to anyone that wants it, and I'll send them some of these pictures. This is a great book. It really is.
Anytime, Paul. And on that topic too, Paul actually is not 90 quite yet, but 89 and feeling what again?
89 and doing fine.
There you go.
But when you do turn 90, January 22nd, 2021, please mark your calendar now.
Yeah.
There will be something special brewing currently with Albina Music Trust and Albina Vision Trust.
And today I am 77 and not ready for heaven. I'll tell you that.
All right.
Happy birthday, Bill.
I'm 69.
Yes.
I'm 69.
Y'all some old people, man.
69 is still right on time.
Well, I'm 75. I'm 75 and glad to be alive.
Amen.
Right on.
There you go.
I'm 68 and I don't have a date.
Hey, Calvin, do I have time to say something else to Paul before we leave?
Please.
Paul, I want to thank you, my friend, for hiring a young man that was expired to be on stage, and you made your stage available for me, along with so many young artists there in Portland.
Absolutely.
And thank you also for teaching us how to be entrepreneurs. Thank you also for teaching us how to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
I used to watch how you met every one of your customers at the front door. You knew them by name. You shook their hand.
Yeah.
I learned these things from you, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Really appreciate that.
We know that the future is in good hands with Tony O, GJ1. All we know, the sky's the limit. And I am so proud of them for carrying on these traditions and creating and establishing new ones, right? Two dedicated young men, really great heads on their shoulders. And I am sure that this being the first moments of this incredible festival, I hope to be around in 10 years when it's at the Coliseum or at the Motor Center.
All right.
All right.
I'll add in there, tomorrow night, Miss Etta is also performing with Tyrone Hendricks. I didn't hear her name. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows. Arietta Ward.
That's my girl, man. That's my girl.
I remember when she was a baby.
That is going to be.
I do too. Yes, indeed.
Like we said, y'all tune in tomorrow. In fact, just keep this kind of bookmarked on your computer, right? So you can come back to it tomorrow. You don't have to worry about searching through everything.
Yeah.
That is the Portland Black Music Expo, year one of 30 or 40, I'm sure. Make sure you tell everybody you know. It's free. You're not doing nothing. So tune in, right? Do something new, right?
Hey, and Calvin,
get off that Netflix.
You're talking about the younger generation coming up.
Yeah.
My son picked up the guitar when he was like 8 years old and has never put it down. And he plays rings around me now. So he may be ready for one of your future shows.
Okay.
Wow. That's what it's all about. And I can tell you, gentlemen, that, just sitting here listening to you guys, I really appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom. We couldn't have started this journey, with this event without having a foundation of people who have laid the foundation in this city. And so I, am really appreciative that you guys participated in this. And I hope a lot of the youngsters that are watching have taken note just of the brotherhood. And one thing I notice here, me and Tony talk about a lot, is you didn't see any egos in this conversation. Any egos or anything. Everyone had no problem with showing each other love and showing appreciation with each other. And I'm hoping that this expo, as we do it year after year, continues to trailblaze that spirit right there, where it's all about us coming together and unifying and uplifting each other through this thing we say we love called music. And so I appreciate you guys on the behalf of me and Tony Ozair and everyone that's working behind the scenes. We truly appreciate you guys pouring into us this evening.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Right now it's on the Grammys, Greg Smith's record. Greg Smith's record, y'all.
Greg Smith's record.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Thank you, Calvin. Thank you all. And thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby Smith.
Yeah. Thank you, Bobby Smith.
My pleasure, Greg. Thank you all. Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Calvin Walker, good job, man.
Great job, Calvin.
Great job, everybody. Everyone, a great job.
Very good.
All right.